Kamala.
Right now, we're in a very tight race between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, and it's going to look like a lot of conflict on election day, no matter who wins.
Obviously, my hope and prayers are that Kamala Harris becomes the next president of the United States of America.
Difícil es predecir quién ganará las elecciones en Estados Unidos. Con una carrera muy ajustada llega el día del duelo final entre la demócrata Kamala Harris y el republicano Donald Trump, en un país que hace gala de una democracia perfecta, pero que en realidad tiene, entre otras profundas grietas, la de la división. Prensa Latina indagó entre votantes, preferencias y pronósticos.
But there's also a whole bunch of other people in this country. And I think that we all want to vote again after this year. And so we want to elect someone that is going to attempt to make this democracy better and representative of everyone, instead of chucking it all and putting a con man, narcissist, rapist, jerk in to control our lives for their own benefit. We got this.
It's time for us to move away from the chaos, all the negative division within our country that one man has caused. One man has caused so much division in our country that we must reverse this trend, because it's dangerous, very, very dangerous.
The race is very tight.
The race is very, very tight, yes, because you have people that, even though they dislike Donald Trump, there are some people that would vote for him because they believe that his policies would be better for the USA. And I would definitely disagree with that statement, because I think his policies would set us back for centuries.
En este tanteo de Prensa Latina encontró al joven puertorriqueño Luz Rodríguez, quien en su reflexión hizo mención a Cuba.
Right now, we're in a very tight race between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, and it's going to look like a lot of conflict on election day, no matter who wins, right? We're in a race that's very tense, and what that means for Americans and what that means for the Cuban people is, in many senses, more of the same, right? We're looking at a Trump presidency that could potentially roll back a lot of the civil and the civil rights that we have here in the United States. But Kamala is not looking much better in any meaningful sense. Just like Biden before her, Kamala has basically promised her backers that things will remain the same. And that goes for the Cuban people as well. Under President Obama, there was an opening up of relationships between the United States and Cuba. And when Trump came into presidency, he not only undid what President Obama was able to accomplish during his tenure, but also rolled out dozens and dozens more restrictions against the Cuban economy, including restrictions against things like tourism. And under Biden, we have seen no meaningful change, and actually a very strong dedication to upholding Trump's Cuba policy. And Kamala has, in many senses, again, re-emphasized what Biden has done, which is uphold Trump's line. So regardless of who wins this election cycle, America's Cuba policy looks to remain the same. And that's why we're out here today demanding an end to the blockade. And we're demanding that Cuba is allowed to live in dignity and sovereignty and freedom from oppression from an outside government, right? It's the 31st time that the United Nations has gathered to put a vote to whether the blockade is legal. And just like the other times, the majority of the world has come together and said, no, the blockade is criminal and that it needs to be lifted so that Cuban people can be left to live in peace, with the only people voting against it being the United States and Israel.
Y como boricua no pasó por alto el reciente insulto a Puerto Rico durante el meeting de Donald Trump en Nueva York.
There was a joke made about Puerto Rico being a piece of garbage floating in the ocean. And this is something that we take as really a grave insult to our community, right? Only a couple of years ago, Trump came after Hurricane Maria and threw toilet paper at us, at crowds of people, mocking us. And, you know, it's really important for us as Boricuas to remember what our relationship is to the United States. Regardless of it being Trump or maybe a Democratic nominee, we've been treated as second-class citizens. Boricuas living on the island still can't vote for the president. And so our entire lives are dictated by the whims of a government that we can't even have a say in, that we don't have any say in. And, you know, this latest joke is just kind of rubbing salt in the wound, a wound that Trump, you know, I think very blatantly showed that he doesn't see us as human beings. And so for Boricuas in this moment, it really stirred up a lot of feelings, but it's really important to remember that it was under Obama that the Promesa Act was passed, and it was under Obama that the Fiscal Control Board, that basically is made up of unelected officials that the United States government selects, has the power to determine our entire economic structure on the island. It has the power to cut funding to schools and hospitals, and that's exactly what they did. And so regardless, Trump or Kamala, it's looking like we're going to have a continued colonial relationship between the United States and Puerto Rico, unless we as Boricuas organize for something better.
Así se vive en las últimas horas esperando las elecciones de los Estados Unidos 2024, en las cuales dos candidatos se disputan la presidencia del país en una pelea que es bastante reñida. Kamala Harris, la Demócrata, y el Republicano Donald Trump. ¿Quién ganará? Ya veremos. Soy Daisy Francis Mexidor desde Washington, D.C., Prensa Latina, Televisión.